r/ask Reddit. What is something that really freaks you out on an existential level? How you can trace the whole path of your life to some small, seemingly inconsequential event decades ago. When I was new to this area, I met a guy on the golf course and we became friends. I met others through him, and now 90% of my friends and contacts can be traced back to that meeting. If I had not golfed that day, or got one extra red light on the way to the course, would I have a whole separate set of friends now? Great one. I needed 3 C's to go to a university in London. I was ill for my exams, and complacent, and got C.D. so went to the University of Manchester. My children literally wouldn't exist if I had studied a bit harder at computer science. That every public institution, every province of government, every law of any nation, it all works because a sufficiently high percentage of people silently assent that it does. It doesn't matter what type of government is in place. If 70% of the population woke up tomorrow and decided that currency has no value and governance is unnecessary, that's exactly what would happen. Power resides where men believe it resides. I've thought a lot about this, too, like how many people on the front line of a war really want to be there, and why? What if all the soldiers in the world one day just said, "Duck this," threw down their weapons and went home? Or think of the places with rampant homelessness while houses are sitting empty being repossessed. How does that make any sense? That the tiniest, most inconsequential decision can completely change the entire course of your life. Nearly 20 years ago, I needed some new shoes for work. As a poor student, I got the cheapest pair I could find. 2 days later, I was supposed to be going straight from work to a club with my friends when, halfway through my shift, the sole half ripped off one of the shoes. I didn't have enough time to get home, change my shoes and get back to work before everyone left for the club. So I just went home and gave it a miss. That night, I started chatting with someone on a forum. A year later, went to visit them in America. 2 years later I moved to America and we got married. 10 years after that we both moved back to the UK. Had I chosen a different pair of shoes, I'd never met my wife, never moved to America, and my life would be completely different now. Because shoes. Guess you could say she's your soulmate. How much quicker time goes by as you get older. Remember when you were 5 and a summer vacation felt like a whole lifetime? I just wanna be a kid again. Life is like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes. The fact that I will never know how things turn out, what becomes of the world once I'm gone. I only understand life as the version I've lived. I never get to know the future. Unless you get born into another consciousness into the future. But unfortunately you won't remember your past life to appreciate this fact. That whatever I did in the past are now just memories. Even yesterday, even though sometimes it feels like my childhood just happened. It was 20 years ago and they're memories. Did those actions even happen? It's hard to explain the feeling. My dad died 21 years ago. It was well before the age of camera phones and he really didn't like having his picture taken regardless. As a result, I have maybe 2 pictures of him. I think I still have a mental picture of him, but sometimes I'm not so sure. He was one of the most significant people in my life and his death is one of the most significant events in my life, but honestly, there's a good chance that if he walked up to me today, I wouldn't recognize him. That it's a strong possibility I'll be alone with no family by the time I die. All my friends are married and having kids, and I'm just here like, welp, maybe I'll try dating again. People say life isn't a race, but if you aren't at the same pace as everyone else when they leave you behind for their own lives, then it's not really a race anymore, is it? You just kind of hobble for a decade then cry at intersections when a red light takes too long. This thread. Thanks for the multi-tiered existential crisis at work. It takes a, admittedly microscopic, amount of time for your brain to process every stimulus that you receive. This means that you are never perceiving reality in real time. There's the slightest delay between reality and your perception of it. How we could die at any second. Today, tomorrow, in a week, in the next 5 minutes, and nobody can stop it. Death is one of the true guarantees of life. I'm not sure what's worse, knowing you're dying, or dying without knowing it. Everything is disintegrating. Nothing is immortal. The television remote on the coffee table will not be a television remote in enough time. Even if that means thousands of years have to pass before it loses its intended form. Knowledge lost. Societies that existed millennia before ours had incredibly complex social structures, massive infrastructure, built incredible wonders, understood boggling amounts of modern math, and did it all in harsher conditions with less technology. So clearly they were smart and capable. At least some. Imagine all the great knowledge that they had which we lost. All the theorems or observations they made in societies that lasted 10 times as long as many of today's, which disappeared in war or accident. Knowledge defines man. We are a species of filers, who wish to make pattern and sense out of chaos. Yet knowledge is so very fragile. It messes me up that people 1000 years ago were just as capable to learn what we are now. A kid from early Rome could go to school in 2018 and be just as smart as everyone else. I probably won't be remembered. I'm gonna try answering with a positive twist. Death, life, and time are interchangeably meaningless. You can be dead and continue to exist, influencing the living in a manner indistinguishable from when you breathed and perspired. I had a friend kill himself a couple years back and I'm still running into that mother ducker. He's still an active part in whatever life it is that I'm experiencing. It's more than he's still in our hearts and serves as a bit of icing on an otherwise bland existential funereal cake. The more people that I lose, the less troubled by death I become. The closer I come to death, the friendlier it seems. Death invites us not to terrorize, but to remind us, none of this is real anyways. Come on in. That no matter how much you get to know someone, no matter how much you share your life, learn about them, feel as though you are almost the same person, there will always be an infinite gulf between who you think they are and who they really are. You cannot know someone else. You can only know your perception of them. Your experience of that person flows through the filter of your personality, your experiences and memories, your biases and intuitions. You don't know them. You know your conception of them. Subjectivity of experience makes truly knowing another person completely impossible. We are all perfectly isolated souls, completely separate from everyone else, desperately reaching out to convince ourselves we aren't really alone. No matter what you're doing in life, you could probably have made a decision that would make you happier right now. I can never truly understand how another person perceives the world. Are we touching the same thing? Is our sense of smell similar? If I say it's the color red and the other person agrees, how do we know we are seeing the same shade of red? And vice versa. No one else can feel what I feel, what I think, and truly understand my existence. My perception is a result of my organs sensing my stimulus and interpreting them through my own unique mindset, memories and experience. I can communicate. We can all try to empathize. We write, read, sing, create videos, create wide media to share our lives. We love and care, but we are all truly alone. Always. Our perception is the only one that is available to us and no way to share it with another. My funeral will probably be attended by less than 10 people. Fewer than 10 people. Chaos. The thought that the universe just gets more and more disorganized freaks me out ever since I learned about it in school. So I just pretend it doesn't exist. There is no such thing as self. How I view myself is through my experiences and knowledge. But that's different than how my spouse views me, as she has her own experiences with me, which is different from how my parents know me, and so on and so on. When I start to think about how we're only known through our own lenses, it's a slippery slope. Whenever I look into a mirror for too long, I start to get freaked out that I'm looking at myself, and myself is looking back at me. Then I start to think about how my brain is witnessing itself in an infinite loop. Then I get freaked out and go about my day. I have no interest in having kids. That means that I am the final result of thousands and thousands and thousands of years of evolution and successful reproduction. This thread, nothing anyone has written is new to me, but seeing it all in one place is overwhelming. Far out in the future, the universe will be cold, dark, and dead. Forever. There's absolutely nothing we, or anything else, can do about it. Pick a random day on this planet 1 billion years from now. barren, baking in the light of an expanding red giant we once called the sun. None of us here and no trace that we ever were here. All of us lost to time. Our Earth just another void celestial object. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.